Okay. Well, welcome everyone. Hello, I'm Bob Bailey, the MPP for Sarnia-Lambton, and I want to begin by welcoming everyone here and thank you for joining us in Sarnia-Lambton for today's exciting announcement. Sarnia-Lambton has been at the forefront of discovery and innovation in the energy sector since the very first commercial oil well in the world was dug not far from here in 1861. Today, 164 years later, Sarnia-Lambton is still a leader in providing the energy products and developing the next generation of technology that help power our province. The Government of Ontario, under the leadership of Premier Ford, Minister Lecce, and Minister Oosterhoff, recognize the important role that Sarnia-Lambton and the 5,000 skilled workers in our community that work in the industry locally play in building a stronger Ontario. Our government has a plan to drive the economic growth, create good-paying jobs, and strengthen Ontario's position as a world leader in the clean energy economy. And I couldn't be more excited for Minister Oosterhoff to share with you today. Before I welcome him forward, I want to acknowledge Minister Oosterhoff and the outstanding job he's doing as the Associate Minister of Energy-Intensive Industries. He's been to Sarnia-Lambton probably at least a half a dozen times in his time as minister to meet with various stakeholders, learn about the industry, and really get to know how things work on the ground and how the Government of Ontario can support growth in this very important industry. I'd also like to welcome a number of municipal councillors and my colleagues that are here. I won't try and name them all because I'll miss someone, but thank you for coming. And with that, I'm going to ask Minister Oosterhoff to come to the podium and bring his great news forward. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, sir. Well, thank you very much, MPP Bailey, and good morning, everyone. It is great to be here in beautiful Sarnia-Lambton this morning with my colleague, MPP Bob Bailey. He has been such an absolute champion for your community. He is a fierce advocate for this area, has a rich history. We just came out of actually the Suncor refinery we visited earlier this morning, and he talked about the cat cracker. I think that's what you said, that you worked on some 50 years ago. And so for 50 years, he's been contributing, or longer, you've been contributing to this community.
It was child labor.
He said it was child labor back then, so we don't want to talk about that, the Ministry of Labor. But I'll say that he is someone who I've learned so much from, and I'm so thankful. You know, this is an area and a industry, a location that's been a industry in energy production and an industry leader in energy innovation for over 100 years. We all know the story of some of the first oil ever tapped in North America coming not too far from here, and it's exciting to be able to share some of the next steps of our energy innovation here in the province of Ontario. And today I do want to particularly acknowledge a couple of folks who are joining us. Matthew Slawinski, the CEO of the Sarnia-Lambton Economic Partnership, who along with his entire team have really been doing excellent work supporting key energy markets, the skilled workforce and businesses here in Sarnia-Lambton and across the province. We've had a chance to work together and tour here a couple of times and visit some of the folks and the innovation that's happening. And I just want to acknowledge and thank you for that work and for joining us. I also need to acknowledge Micah Altes, the Vice President of the Canadian Hydrogen Association, who I've been working with now for a couple of years and who has been a key advocate for the hydrogen sector across Ontario and a strong ally in Ontario's ongoing support for the hydrogen sector and the opportunities that exist. I also want to acknowledge and thank Mayor Bradley and everyone who is here for taking time out of a busy day on the 31st of October to join us for this very exciting announcement. I promise you it will not be scary. Sarnia-Lambton is home to many of Ontario's largest hydrogen producers and innovators, and so it's a privilege for us to be here today to announce the upcoming opening of the 2025 Hydrogen Innovation Fund call for applications. The Independent Electricity Systems Operator will be administering this program, where we will accept applications for 14 weeks. And today I'm excited to announce that these applications will begin to be accepted next Tuesday on November 4th. With double the budget of the previous fund from 2023, this new and expanded 2025 Hydrogen Innovation Fund will offer $30 million across two new funding streams to unlock hydrogen's full potential, to de-risk private sector investment, to drive economic efficiency, to create jobs, and really build out what we continue to work on creating, namely the strongest economy in the G7. Now, the first stream of this new investment will provide $15 million in funding from the electricity rate base to support projects that will focus on electricity system benefits. Things like long-term hydrogen storage, peak demand management, services that will help strengthen the reliability of our electricity grid. And in Stream 2, an additional $15 million in funding will support the vital broader sector, including applications in hydrogen-powered transportation, low-carbon fuel switching in industry, and hydrogen hubs, like I know you're already working on here in Sarnia-Lambton, to connect producers with end users. We understand here in the province of Ontario the hydrogen potential that exists, both as a clean energy source and, almost as importantly, or even more importantly, depending on who you talk to, a real major economic opportunity, because it offers Ontario's energy-intensive industries, from steel to chemical production to auto, a competitive advantage when we have clean, reliable fuel solutions that help reduce emissions on the one hand and also create good-paying jobs across the province. We know that hydrogen-based technologies can work to help to fill some of those gaps that currently can't be addressed technically or economically through electrification or current technology alone. And in a time of global economic uncertainty, we need these hydrogen technologies. We need to come forward with support to de-risk those investments and help strengthen Ontario's energy sovereignty and encourage more innovation in this space. Now, through the consultations, we heard directly from the sector about the need to apply broader Hydrogen Innovation Fund application criteria. We heard about the need to really recognize the cross-sectoral value of hydrogen, that chicken and egg, not just the generation side, but also the demand side, while reaffirming Ontario's commitment to growing our low-carbon hydrogen economy. With the 2025 fund, I'm really, really pleased to say that under the leadership of Premier Ford, we are delivering on our commitments. And with your help, we will continue to build a world-class hydrogen sector to make Ontario a global leader in the clean hydrogen economy. HIF 2025 will support a holistic approach to advancing this economy while also promoting specific projects developed by Canadian companies to help strengthen our economy and energy security. Through this expanded program, our government can foster greater innovation, support Made in Ontario solutions, support local jobs, and help to build a stronger, more diversified energy sector. One of the things that really defines Ontario's energy sector is the fact that we have a diverse grid. We have everything from natural gas to electricity, everything from hydrogen to low-carbon fuels, and this is yet another way that we are going to be developing this supply chain, support good-paying jobs, and strengthen our energy security and industrial competitiveness. Earlier this week, I was at the National Energy Roundtable in Ottawa, meeting with over 100 different stakeholders from across the province and the nation. One of the key themes that came through was the appreciation folks had for Ontario's integrated energy plan, the first integrated energy plan in not only Canada's history, but actually in the entire G7. Taking an all-of-the-above approach from natural gas, oil and gas to electricity and emerging sustainable alternatives like hydrogen, folks recognize that we need to use every tool in our toolbox to continue supporting good jobs in Sarnia-Lambton and across the province. Now, under the leadership of Premier Ford, we are committed to strengthening Ontario's economy and our energy sector, supporting the world-class diverse energy supply we have to ensure that, especially with the current geopolitical challenges, our workers, our jobs, and our industries are able to be nimble and to be protected from any and every challenge or threat that comes our way. These investments that we're announcing today are just another example of how we are working to keep our promise to protect the people of Ontario. And as Minister Lecce and I have reinforced through the Integrated Energy Plan, the Energy for Generations Plan, we are also committed to making Ontario a world leader in energy on all fronts. We've done it for nuclear. We have a robust nuclear sector here in the province of Ontario that now, with the small modular reactors, is leading the world. Yesterday, I had the chance to meet with Amazon Web Services, looking at building out massive data centers across North America. And as I was told by the Vice President there, they're looking very, very carefully at what's happening in Darlington with the small modular reactors, because he said what happens there is going to define how these SMRs, these small modular reactors, are going to be rolled out across the world, feeding so many of the crucial industries that we rely on. And it's that kind of innovation that also can exemplify the leadership we're going to show in hydrogen. As we continue to attract new investments and innovation to our energy sector, I want to acknowledge the highly skilled workforce, the people on the ground who do the work that allows all of these pieces to play a crucial part in Ontario's diverse energy supply mix. Thank you for the work that you do in helping us build the strongest and most competitive economy in the G7. So mark next Tuesday on your calendars, get your submissions ready. I'm very much looking forward to seeing the innovative projects that will come forward and be realized through this new funding over the coming months. Thank you, and now I'll welcome Matthew Slotwinski to bring a few words.
Good morning. I appreciate the opportunity to speak here today and to have been afforded the opportunity by Minister Oosterhoff and MPP Bailey. Thank you very much. I'm proud to represent the Sarnia-Lambton Economic Partnership, which is Lambton County's economic development agency and the leading stakeholder of the Ontario's Hydrogen Hub in Sarnia-Lambton. With today's opening of the call for applications for the 2025 Hydrogen Innovation Fund, the Sarnia-Lambton Economic Partnership, alongside the stakeholders of the Ontario's Hydrogen Hub in Sarnia-Lambton, applaud the leadership of the Ontario government and especially Minister Oosterhoff as the build-out of the low-carbon hydrogen economy and development of defined hydrogen hubs stand to benefit significantly from the support of the Hydrogen Innovation Fund. The development of at-scale low-carbon hydrogen economy starts with leveraging innovation to connect hydrogen producers and users, setting the stage for long-term economic growth, clean energy integration, and low-carbon diversification. The launch of the Hydrogen Innovation Fund is a strong signal that Ontario is serious about building a low-carbon economy powered by clean technologies, and that hydrogen will be a priority pathway to success. While Sarnia-Lambton is home to Ontario's largest existing cluster of current and potential hydrogen users and producers, we're not yet a low-carbon hub, but rather a hub of existing hydrogen production, distribution, and use with the ambitions to build on our existing industry, hydrogen supply chain, and infrastructure advantages. The Hydrogen Innovation Fund will help us and other hubs across Ontario build on these ambitions by supporting hydrogen growth, encouraging collaboration, and attracting businesses to be a part of Ontario's clean energy future. We're excited about the potential that this fund brings, not just for the Sarnia-Lambton area, but for communities across Ontario. Hydrogen is more than a fuel. It's a catalyst for economic development and energy resilience. Again, on behalf of our community, I want to thank the Province of Ontario and Minister Oosterhoff for the leadership and vision, and we look forward to continuing our work with the Ministry, with the ISO, and our partners to ensure that Ontario remains at the forefront of hydrogen innovation. I'd now like to invite Micah Althouse to the podium.
Well, good morning, everyone. I would like to start by saying that on behalf of the Canadian Hydrogen Association's Ontario members, I would like to congratulate the Government of Ontario and Minister Oosterhoff in particular for this important milestone in advancing Ontario's hydrogen sector. With the 2025 Hydrogen Innovation Fund, the province is broadening the program scope and doubling its funding to include end-use applications that will drive innovation, strengthen competitiveness, and foster economic growth across Ontario's key industries, including, by the way, the defense sector, which has gained, as you may all know, in importance recently. Ontario is home to companies like Elemental Trucks, Hydrocool, MTB Transit Solutions, and Toyota that are ready to manufacture hydrogen-powered vehicles and secure auto manufacturing jobs right here in the province. Change Energy's Hone, in partnership with Somers Generator Systems in Stratford, Ontario, is producing hydrogen-powered generators for use in the construction and film industry. Meanwhile, hydrogen producers like Atura Power, Aurora Hydrogen, CPXP, GH Power, and Stormfisher stand ready to provide low-carbon hydrogen made right here in Ontario while creating long-term jobs and enabling grid investments. Another important company I'd like to introduce to you is Greenfield Global. In fact, We're standing right next to their pilot plant here in this space, and the pilot plant is for an innovative sustainable aviation fuel production technology using low-carbon hydrogen. With 25 years of experience, Greenfield is a leader in innovative clean fuel technologies, including renewable natural gas and alcohol-to-fuel platforms. Greenfield's innovation will support the long-term sustainability of Ontario's farmers. So we're really talking across sectors here, while advancing Ontario's position as a clean energy superpower. As is the case for many other companies, the success of Greenfield's innovations requires the development of a competitive and reliable low-carbon hydrogen market here at home in Ontario. As you can see, Matthew mentioned it, hydrogen is more than a clean fuel. It is truly a catalyst for resilient supply chains, investments across multiple sectors, and, most importantly, high-quality jobs. Hydrogen has the potential to be a defining advantage for Ontario's economy. Minister Oosterhoff, thank you once again for your vision and commitment. Together, let's continue to build a cleaner, more competitive Ontario powered by hydrogen. Thank you very much.
We'll now be taking questions from reporters. Just a reminder, it's one question, one follow-up.
Good morning, Heather Wright from The Independent. There is a company in Lambton County that's talking about a hydrogen energy plant. What's kind of the time frame that you see this technology developing, and how important would hydrogen be to electricity generation for the province?
Yeah, great question. Thank you, Heather. So there are a number of different aspects to the emerging hydrogen economy, and part of that is looking at how the use of hydrogen on the grid stabilization can be used. So we're looking at alternatives, as we've talked about before, through a hydrogen interruptible rate pilot, where folks would be able to produce clean electricity-based hydrogen that they would then be able to either use for industrial purposes or perhaps even reconvert back into electricity as needed, where they could take off-peak, low-cost electricity, and in exchange for an interruptibility aspect to that supply, they're able to create that at a lower cost than they would otherwise need. There's a value there that is substantial. When we were at Suncor earlier this morning, we were talking about the amount of hydrogen that is currently being used already in industrial processes. And we know that one of the easiest ways to not just create new demand, but actually to be able to displace existing high carbon hydrogen would be in being able to look at things like electrolytic hydrogen production to be able to create a cleaner hydrogen economy in the existing space, but also to be able to bring about a critical mass. Because one of the things, if anyone here has been working in the space long enough will know, is that there's a bit of a chicken and egg, where people want to move into that space, but the price per kilogram of hydrogen can be quite expensive. And so to generate that demand, it means you're going to have to integrate into an existing feedstock that's already using perhaps a higher carbon form of hydrogen. So I think over the coming years, as that evolves, this particular program, we want to wrap up those applications in 14 weeks and get those out the door sooner rather than later in the next in the next following months after that application wraps up. We know that there are a number of different private sector investors who have looked at stepping forward, and this is really also a demonstration of confidence from the government to say, we want to have your back in that. We don't believe in it being ultimately taxpayers who carry all of the costs of innovation, but we do believe that taxpayers and the economy as a whole and the government of Ontario have a role in supporting those who are willing to take that step forward and to invest in where we see a more diverse energy future arriving. Thank you.
Hi, Natalia Vega, Blackburn Media. Just wondering if there has been a funding cap set per application.
Yes, $4.5 million per application, and this is really based off of some of the feedback we had from previous applications. The previous round, we want to ensure that recipients are able to, again, de-risk some of their projects and their proposals, but we also want to ensure that there's substantial private sector investment along the way.
Okay, that concludes today's announcement. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
job, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.